This is a presentation of the United States Australian Football League, the USAFL.
Okay, fullback. Okay. Alex C, back pocket. Okay.
Hey, voice. All right. Use your voice all day. Use your voice, okay? Swannaroos on three. 1, 2, 3. Swannaroos. Let's go, boys. 1, 2, 3, 3.
Strong in that order was fantastic.
Nestled on the banks of the Scioto River to the west of the capital of Ohio, Columbus, is the town of Dublin, a town that was named for its beautiful rolling green hills and countryside, and today is the home of the 2024 USAFL National Super Regionals. And here we have Division I, one of three divisions in the men's side of things, as the Denver Bulldogs take on the Baltimore Dockers. The Bulldogs are the defending champions, having knocked off Austin a season ago, while the Baltimore Dockers are their first foray at this high of a level in Division I. My name is Brian Barish. Great to have you along for this third of 9 games we bring to you as Dan Sarbacker, the former USA Revolution player and current coach, joins me to my left. We are underway here. The Bulldogs are in their recognizable red, white, and blue, while the Dockers are in the orange and the black. That's not a colors that you would associate with Dockers if you're in Australia, but that's okay. Denver out to the near side. Got the handball away. Now out in the middle of the ground. Big tackle. Very lucky not to get away with that one. That might have been a little high. It bops out in front.
Looks like he earned it eventually anyway.
Yeah.
Second high tackle in about a second and a half. It's free kick even though he's running away from it.
Ball don't lie, as Denver has they have 4 players from the Philadelphia Hawks, as well as 1 from Boston, 1 from Kansas City, as well as Rob Munn from the Seattle Grizzlies. There's a number of players. We'll explain this in a minute, as this one is sent in towards the sticks, is through for a behind. So Denver, who's heading from right to left on your device of watching choice, takes the early lead on the Watch AFL scoreboard. They lead 1-0.
Yeah, I think you see right off the bat, Brian, the pace is up a level, the intensity is up a level. These are some sides that are pretty well practiced, a lot of experience and a lot of depth.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, when you move up to Division I, listen, Baltimore's probably a high D2 team nationally. Denver, of course, is a D1 side. They've always been in D1. They've never gone down to any other level. Now this is a side that I think they're missing some of their key players today. So this is more of like a combination, almost D1, D3 side. But they are still full of talent, and we're seeing this here as the ball comes in towards the middle of the ground, but it's picked off, and back the other way come the boys from the Charm City.
Really, really nice play on there. Took the intercept mark on the halfback line. He saw opportunity here on the close swing for us to move the ball forward, and they are. Ooh, drop mark there.
And getting run over there was the number 12. When we mentioned we have no names or numbers for Baltimore, and such as life is in the USAFL, and we'll have a ball up on the near side.
Baltimore able to exit out their right side, build up the side there with a completed mark there. They would have kept going, I reckon, but happy enough with the tie up here.
Umpire Milo Lombardi sends that one to the heavens, and Denver now able to extract it, puts this one in on a line, drops in front, skips by one defender, now handball back. Big, good disruption of the play there, and then here they come the other way, sending this one in, and it's marked in front, and it's marked by the number 47.
The pace with which Denver is rebounding is going to be a real challenge for Baltimore if they can't figure out a way to solve that. The way Denver's collected the ball around stoppages and moved the ball forward extremely quickly. You saw that last sequence off halfback. 2 quick handballs, a kick forward, connected another kick, and they had a shot on goal, Brian. That transpired in less than 8 seconds.
And Michael O'Brien, who had the free kick there, could only muster 1 point. Watch AFL scoreboard. It's the Columbus 2, Baltimore 0. This is the first of 3 games that these two teams will play. The Austin Crows, the top seed in the group. And as this one comes out into the middle of the ground, now going to pick this one up and trying to get it away. Ricochets off a defender. Minnesota, the other team, they're playing on the field to our right as this one is speared down the ground. I'm on the far side now, going to pick that one up. Handballs it away. And this one goes back, going over to get it. And pick that one up again is Ollie Durbin, who is one of the Philadelphia players, sends this one on. Long handball back. Again, pick that one up, turns on a dime, plays that one into the middle. And again, that's O'Brien, and he is taken down. And there was no prior, so we'll have a ball up in front.
See what happens here after the restart. Denver's been able to collect the ball in the last few. I want to see Baltimore exert themselves on the ground a little better. Here they're getting a tie-up, it looks like. That's a better result for them.
Number of players, including Caleb Doherty, Ryan Henry, and then some of the other bullet. We mentioned Rob Munn. We mentioned a number of players, Luke Durkin, Jay Bliston, all trying to make the Team USA for the Transatlantic Cup. The Revolution Men and Freedom Women will be heading up to Toronto to battle 5 other countries in August, and hopefully bring home a championship.
Yeah, full slate of games, 5 games over a 9-day period. They'll see Ireland, Great Britain, Canada, France, Colombia, which are all quality sides.
Indeed, especially Colombia, even though they haven't played before. We mentioned that was O'Brien. That's Ryan Henry, number 41. I recognize that hairline and those shorts anywhere as the ball goes out of bounds. And he's been a veteran of the Philadelphia side. So we'll have a boundary throw in directly to our left. Yeah, it's interesting, all these players and everything. And we should mention it is in Toronto, August 2nd to the 11th, if you want to join us. As the ball comes spinning back in the play, going to be picked out of the air, turns that one on to the left, and that one is clean bowled, handballs back the other way, picked up out of the air, and then taken down. And now going to pick that one up. Denver retains possession. That again was O'Brien. 41 is Henry. We have it on the score sheet right. And that one goes through again for another minor score. 3-0 Denver. Watch AFL scoreboard with match analyst Dan Sarbacker.
Denver with more chances in the forward line here, but they haven't exerted any pressure on the scoreboard yet. You got to be thinking, hope they don't regret that.
Nope. Our friend Bill Robert, who may very well be watching us, who of course we're on state, will know he's in Boston. The Boston Demons are playing the Maine Cats up there, and he's starting season number 14 of stateside footy as that one is dropped in front. He used to say, if you kick too many behind, you get your behind kicked.
That's right.
As the ball gets taken up. Here they come now. He's got a man on his tail as rushing in there from behind was Stephen McAvilly, and that one is marked, and that ends that, as that is veteran Tim Wilson Humphreys, the mighty hyphen.
A nice sequence there. Great quick handballs. He ran his distance, forward entry with the kick, but ultimately intercept mark for Denver. So they bend but don't break and rebound.
Oh, ball comes in the middle. This is Ollie Dunbabin who has it. He is taken down, and a free kick goes to Denver.
So Baltimore actually staying in this game with their pressure. They haven't always had numbers around the ball. Denver, when they do, are moving the ball more freely, but at times Baltimore's been able to tie things up, and that's what's keeping them in the game right now.
It really is, and that's the thing. Like, I think it's interesting to see, I guess, where Baltimore stands. As we mentioned, they were originally part of the Baltimore-Washington Eagles. They divested into 2 different clubs in 2018. And then they essentially started from scratch as a D4 side, as this one is kicked up on the way, and that one is rebounded out in front, going after the footy, trying to get away from one tackler. Ball still in play. He's at an odd angle, looks to try and open it up a bit, but can't. And then you've got 3 players in there, and one of the Dockers was able to extract it, and then a big tackle thrown in there, and we'll have a ball up, dead in front. As I started to say, Sars, they began play on their own in 2018. They won Division IV that first year, took a 2-division jump, and a lot of people were thinking, well, they're going to get pinged pretty badly as this one is turned in towards the sticks and bounces through. So Baltimore is on the board. 3-1 is the score. Denver the lead. Watch AFL scoreboard. They thought they were going to get absolutely pinged in Division II. They made it all the way to the grand final and gave San Diego a really huge fight, and they've been D2 level ever since.
I'll tell you, Americans love the underdog story. So that certainly is true to script for what the Yanks like. But I mean, they're there's certainly a class side here. You can see it today, and they've steadied against Denver here. We're not seeing that flow of play up on Denver's forward line as much as it was, and now creating some chances for themselves in their own forward 50.
Steve McAvilly is the man down in front of us, holding his right ankle, and we're just waiting for him to come up. And as we do, we will tell you that if you like what you're seeing and you want to follow along with the USAFL, hey, see if there's a team in your area, and if there isn't, maybe we'll help you start one if that's your thing. You can join us at usafl.com, on social media at USAFL, at facebook.com/USAFL, and on Twitter, I still call it Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else at USAFL 1997. As McAvilly comes off the ground.
I'm no doctor, but potential high ankle sprain there just by the way he was clutching it. Physio's having a look at him now.
I was going to say I'm not a doctor, but I stayed in a particular chain hotel, but I didn't stay it, so I'm not going to plug them. As the ball comes in, big smother in there, and the ball goes out of bounds. They're saying that it would have gone off his foot.
Ooh, that pretty clearly to us, I think, out on the full. That made contact below the knee and then over the line, but probably a hard call from the angle the umpire had, and in the end, people aren't going to grouse about that too much. It was near the knee.
Yeah, that's one of those. Excuse me. Ooh, as the ball comes spinning back in the play, and that one gets knocked down. Again, Baltimore trying to get it out of jail here as the ball gets picked up. And the ball goes to ground, over to get it. Little shovel ball, throws that one onto the right, dropped in front. Nice sliding mark taken by the 43. Going to get rid of it quickly. Bangs it forward, does Caleb Doherty. Again, we say from Kansas City. And he dropped the pill, says that one in the middle. Kansas City playing with Oklahoma in D3, but as we mentioned, Doherty trying for a spot on the Revos team, so playing with I guess a higher level of competition, we'll say, and that is not uncommon as the ball stays in play. Again, Doherty is there, and whoa, that was very close, and the boundary umpire made that call from about 5 feet behind. But it will be a boundary throw.
Maybe a bit anticipatory there. Caleb actually probably kept that ball in. The prior sequence, a couple of Revel hopefuls there working on the boundary here, actually played into Baltimore's favor. They actually stayed boundary instead of targeting corridor, and Baltimore were able to kind of close the grasp on the pressure here near side.
Ball comes back in the play once again, and going to get picked up and sent this one down. And that one is off the fingertips. That one gets spread free. Again, going down and going back into the pocket. And big hit in there. A little lucky not to get away with. From here, it looked like it could have been some head contact, but all looks in decent nick. And we'll have a free kick as Denver again leading 3-1 and getting the opportunity. Baltimore had the sway of play for some time, but now they have a chance against the wind.
Yeah, I saw it the same way you did, Brian. I thought that might have been contact with the head and a free kick going the other direction. In the end, just enough patience from the pressure and tackler to result in a shot on goal here.
The wind is blowing as much as it is. It's only blowing at 8 miles an hour. The gusts are at 13, and he cuts through that like a Ginsu through a nail. And we have our first major score of this particular game on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Denver goes to 139, Baltimore 1 point.
Yeah, I think the scoreboard a pretty good reflection of what we're seeing here, Brian. Denver's had a little bit better play, although this goal right now against the flow a bit because Baltimore had been pressuring their forward 50 a little bit more. And I'm not surprised that's the first major. The intensity's been high, the pressure's been high, the defenses have rebounded well. So I'm in agreement with what we see in the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like Denver, I think, even if there is, we mentioned, you look at some of the players that they're missing, but they still have like a decent side. And then you've got 4 solid players from Philadelphia. We mentioned Dunbabin. He's had the player a couple times. Rob Munn is in there as well. So, and Rob is a tall player, so he adds a little bit of height to a team that already is pretty athletic as is. Baltimore trying to poke forward but can't. Henry's going to get the ball out to the near side. Little chip kick over the top looking for a target, but it's intercepted and nicely done so. And so now they'll look to shake the Etch-a-Sketch and draw up something new. Comes out to the near side, drops in front. And the ball goes out of bounds in front of the unnamed Baltimore player. Again, if you're just joining us, we don't have any names or numbers on the roster, so we'll be chewing out somebody on the Dockers at the end of this game. But yeah, it's very much Denver still kind of controlling it, but it's kind of that sort of bob and weave, and if this was a boxing match, you'd say Denver's definitely connecting on more of their punches.
Yeah, for sure. Their setups around the football have been a little cleaner. They're getting more used to the football there. Baltimore, I think, has been happy to contest the ball like in these situations and tie it up and get another chance. That's where they've created some of their opportunities.
Ball up will occur in front of us once again, 9-1. Again, these three teams will play Austin, the 5-time defending D1 national champions, and winners of 8 overall, tied with Denver for that honor. Big tackle put in there. Ball cried the crowd. He just got a knuckle to the football. Very lucky Justin Hammond to be able to do so. And now Denver, Baltimore with opportunity. He takes a fantastic mark.
That was a massive grab after a massive tackle, and a few little words exchanged, minor extracurriculars after that. But Baltimore here with another solid chance, probably right on the edge of 40 meters would be my guess.
Yeah, I think this is going to be just at the edge of his reality.
If he waits for that gust, he might make the distance here. I'd back him to do it, frankly, and they'd be tickled to get 6 out of this.
And cut it to 2 points. Sends on the way. Looks good off the boot, and the goal umpire agrees. Baltimore on the board with a fantastic setup and goal, and it's back to a 2-point game.
Yeah, he didn't have a ton extra, but like I said, I backed him to do it, and he's got the wind at his back, so it was just enough, and the outstretched arms of the defender there trying to tap it on the goal line, not enough. He had enough clearance, probably sailed 10 foot through at that point.
The outstretched arms of an angel, and I only say that because Sarah McLaughlin was playing down in Cincinnati last night. Okay. And the only reason I know that was because Stephanie McKittrick, who plays for Columbus, and who I think is going to show up at some point today, went and saw her last night, and I said, let me go back to, while you're back in the 90s, bring me back some Zubaz. Watch AFL scoreboard. It's now a 2-point game. Baltimore 1-1-7 trails Denver 1-2-9. Back in the middle, back again. Denver again trying to get the ball out. And as the ball gets taken down, this way is sent in forward. And tipped off the top once again. Over to get it. Now going out into the pocket. And going to be picked up there by one of the Bulldogs. 37 in point of fact, who is Reese Quinn. And there might be a man-for-man reference, and you ain't seen nothing like the mighty Quinn. And there's 6 more to Denver, and they extend their lead as they go to 2-3-15. Baltimore 1-1-7, a good opportunistic play, and he bangs it home for another sausage roll.
Well, what's the best answer for getting scored on, Brian?
Score back.
Score back, and that's what Denver decided to do right there. Work the ball forward, a nice switch after collecting it in the pocket, and what probably wasn't a shot on goal ends up running through just because of the bounce of the ball. Thought maybe the defender could get there, but he was tied up with his assignment, and ball goes through for a goal.
And sometimes that happens is that a lot of times a lot of the defense SARS is man on man. So essentially what will happen is sometimes, and it works to the offensive team's advantage sometimes, where you've got the defensive player essentially distracted, and that opens up space on the field for passes, and in this case a goal.
Yeah, everyone home is saying, well, why didn't you just go pick up that ball? Well, let me tell you, yeah, a bit of distracted attention because of your marking assignment. Yeah, it's not as easy as that, is it?
And if you're wondering why he didn't pick up the ball, we invite you to go to USAFL.com and find your team so you can pick up that ball. Instead of sitting at home on your couch.
Yeah,
as the ball comes back into play, as the ball comes in. As this one comes out to the near side now, over the top of one of the Baltimore defenders. Going to be picked up nicely. Turning with it there is Rob Munn into the middle of the ground. Sending that one forward is 52 as that one goes in. That's Aaron Gray, by the way, 43, who we were saying before didn't have a number. He is the lone representative from the Boston Demons here today, and he, too, trying for a spot on the plane to Toronto in August.
Yeah, what an amazing weekend. We got players from dozens of cities all competing, and 3rd of 9 matches here that we're seeing, and exactly what we wanted to see, isn't it, Brian? Close on the scoreboard, yeah. Hotly contested football on the ground, a lot of great displays of athleticism, some wonderful footy sequences, the balls linking up. This is a great game of football.
It really is, and this is the 2 seed versus the 3rd seed in this 4-team Division 1. Austin, the top seed, Minnesota, the 4 seed, as the ball comes spinning back into play. Ball goes to ground, going to be kicked across the face of goal, and then Baltimore is happy just to concede it behind. And so it's a rush behind, and so it is now on the Watch AFL scoreboard, 16 plays 7. It's 2-4, 16, 1-1, 7. And we should mention, if you're watching us back in Australia and thinking, well, that's a deliberate behind, that should be a free kick. The rule is a little bit looser here in the U.S., mostly because a lot of players are inexperienced, and so that would be, I think, a little bit too much over the top for newer players. Out to the near side they come. It's marked, and here they come. Going to play this one on quickly. It was the 52. Sends this one into the top of the square. Goes down. There's a couple of blue jumpers there loose, and it bounces away. Over to get it now, and the ball is cryogenically frozen in there just like Walt Disney's head. And we'll have a ball up that will occur about 40 meters from the Denver target. Not much time left.
Really effective rebound from Denver right at midline in front of us. Again, Baltimore has to resort to real hot tackling to stymie their attack.
Ball comes out in the middle of the ground, throws this one on the left, and that one is taken down. Sending this one back the other way now. No, almost taking the mark. Now comes out in front. A couple of players over to get it for Baltimore. And staying in after that one again was Quinn once again, and we'll have a ball up directly across from us. Ball gets tidied up high and down low and sent forward by the men in the tricolors. Denver, eight-time national champions, as this one comes squirting across. Good pressure put on by Gray, and he's gone, and he's earned a free kick in front. Great pursuit by Aaron Gray, and that'll earn him a shot at goal.
Well, I dare say the national team coaches perked up at that effort. He's going to get a shot after the siren.
So this will count. It's worth mentioning that if it basically falls short, it will not count. But if it crosses the plane, then it will count. Gray has the wind in his face with a man on the mark. That's Val Cafaholi, the man from Albania, up on the way. It's a wounded duck. It's going to fall short, and that is that. 20 minutes in the books here at Dairy Fields in Dublin, Ohio, here in this men's Division III game. It's the Denver Bulldogs, 2 goals, 4 behind, 16 points. The Baltimore Dockers, 1-1-7. And SARS, you know what? I mean, this is a good, as you said, it's a good contested game. Denver, I think, obviously said they're making a little bit more of their opportunities, but Baltimore is moving the ball pretty well, and they're keeping themselves in it.
Yeah, you go to the boundary at halftime. What's the difference right now? I think Denver's just a little bit more anticipatory. They're a half step ahead around those contests. It's giving them first use of the football more often than not. And what they're doing is they're linking up a few handballs and getting that kick forward. It's not working every time, but they're having more success with it than Baltimore, that's on their heels a little bit more and having to do more tackling to stop the flow.
Exactly, and we'll see if they can keep that up in that second half. We'll be back for the second half of this one when we return. You're watching the 2024 USAFL Super Regionals from Dublin, Ohio, here on USAFL.com.
This presentation of the USAFL is brought to you by Tasmanian. Quietly pursue the extraordinary. Cooper's. Australian made and owned. Cooper's Beer. Aussie Sports USA, the official apparel provider of the USAFL. Odin Mortgage and Tax, Australian mortgages and taxation for expats and overseas residents. CyberSolve IQ, the inaugural cybersecurity partner of the USAFL. Two Hands Restaurant, fueling your lifestyle. Watch AFL, stream every match overseas. Brown Brothers, family winemakers since 1889. HBC Event Services, Premier Sports Medicine, and the members of the USAFL.
Second half of this opening round game in Men's Division I between the Denver Bulldogs and the Baltimore Dockers. The Bulldogs in the blue, leading by the score of 16-7, and they'll have an opportunity to extend their lead right off the get-go. And Brian Barish alongside Dan Sarbacker, great to have your company as well. And Sars, Denver now with the wind, and we'll talk about it in just a moment, as this is the kick is up on the way. It looks good off the boot. The umpire arches the back, comes to the middle, and goes ba-bam. And it took all of 30 seconds, but Denver has extended their lead on the Watch AFL scoreboard. They lead 22-7.
Well, I hope you didn't have trouble getting your crisps or lollies at halftime, because that happened fast. We talked about it the last game we called, Brian, right after the second half, after halftime, second half bounce, exactly it was drawn up on the clipboard. They got the tap, the pickup, free space in the middle, really sharp kick into a forward lead, mark, goal.
It's mechanical. It's almost mechanical the way that they do this. And listen, this is a team that, some of these guys are somewhat new, but the pedigree. They won 8 national championships from 2001 all the way through, or rather from 2000 all the way through 2011. So this is a team that knows how to play, and no matter who they play against. And Baltimore, I think, really standing toe-to-toe with them, but they need to hit back quicker. This is going to get away from them quickly. Dunbabin gets the ball away, sends this one up high as the ball goes down to ground, and then cycled around. Into the middle, yep.
You talk about Denver, they'd be unlucky the last few years, and maybe even leading a few of those grand final games at Nationals to not add some flags to their haul. But you can see they're absolutely are a class side. Baltimore, I wanted to see more adjustment at halftime. They relied in the first half pretty heavily on tight quarters, applying those tackles and pressure, tying the ball up, and then maybe getting a quick rebound sort of goal. They haven't built up in the same way Denver has.
Dockers got a point out of that as they now go to 8. It's now 23-8 on the Watch AFL scoreboard. As Denver trying to get the ball. Let's see. This has been the scoring end. Even though it's been against the breeze, Baltimore may fancy themselves here. There's a good tackle, and it's high, though. That's the problem. And a little bit of remonstration from the Baltimore defense, but it is going to be a free kick. They're going to play on quickly there. Ian Quinn, who has a goal out to the near side, almost took Doherty by surprise. He almost had to catch that in self-defense. Dunbabin shoved off the football. Now he's held down off of it. Kept in play nicely by O'Brien. Somehow, some way, over the top there is Federer, one of the Philadelphia boys, alongside Dunbabin. Out to the near side, long kick. It is a whirly-bird helicopter. Taken down. He's going to be taken down off the ball. Push in the back is what's called. Free kick, Baltimore.
Bad luck for Doherty here earlier. He's probably looking right back into the sun with that kick. Denver's choice to use the hands off of the free kick they had earlier demonstrates they've got some key playmakers. They want the football in their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's one of those things where it's just having the men around the ball. That's a good tackle put in there, and it'll be a free kick.
The intensity's there, Brian. You kind of wait and see how this plays out over the next 3 to 4 minutes. Does one of the sides start to yield to that pressure and cave, and skills let themselves down? There's an example right there on the boundary. Didn't pick up the football. The intensity's hot.
Yep, you have to, because if you don't, you're going to lose the opportunity, and then that's when mistakes occur.
Baltimore, there again, doing what they've done well, applying that pressure when they're in close. I think the trick for them is when the ball switches play or moves quickly in transition, can they make themselves close again at the next contest?
22-8, still the score. Gets away from one defender, and we have a whistle. And it will be umpire Ben Markham, who we just saw in the last game for Des Moines, says that will be a free kick to Denver.
Not sure precisely what he called there. I thought that might have been a non-call or Baltimore's ball, but here we are back on halfback. Baltimore collecting, looking to rebound.
And sending this one back the other way, out to the far side. Went for it, but couldn't get it as he skied up high and went down low, and the umpire rolls away, and whoever that was for the Bulldogs is holding his head. In fact, I think it is Ryan Henry, who is slow to get up directly across from us.
Yeah, sometimes a hard knock wherever it is on the body, you just got to catch your wind for a second. but we're back live again here, and he looks all right.
And it is this sport of Aussie rules is sometimes like Annie. It is like a hard knock life as the ball goes out on the far side.
Does that make you miss Hannigan?
Oof. Well, I mean, you have compared me to Carol Burnett, so I guess I shouldn't be too. I guess that's somewhat happy. She's much funnier than I am. As the ball goes in, and it's a nice mark, and Denver is, after parrying away a couple of attacks, this one is sent up on the way by O'Brien, and that is a good football goal. As they extend the lead on the Watch AFL scoreboard, 4-4-28 to 1-2-8. It's now a 20-point lead, and that's the thing, Sars. This sport is so quick and so predictable. Baltimore had a great run of play where they were pinning Denver back in. They couldn't come across it. 60 seconds later, boom, boom, bang, through the sticks.
It's those transitions, those rebounds we talk about, and Denver executed really well on that one, found that full forward. And he chose to play on, give himself a little bit better angle, and he slotted that ball. But you're 100% right. The game can be streaky. The game can shift and twist and turn, and those transitions really become critical.
Ball comes back in the middle once again as it's tossed to the heavens. Gravity takes effect. One out by the Bulldogs once again. Those center clearances are going to be very, very important. And Ben Collins, another veteran, and they work it down the chain of fools and a chance in front.
Brian, that really interesting sequence there. So no one got a free run out of the middle in that case, couple of U-turns, but finding that handball to free things up a little bit behind with support, and then a proper 50-meter torp that entered into forward 50 to a mark and a goal.
And a conversion off the foot, I believe, of Dan Duffield. He's the only guy I know who would wear number 3. So on the Watch AFL scoreboard, Denver putting this one maybe a little bit out of reach as they go to 5-4-34 to Baltimore 1-2-8.
The smaller forward there standing tough in that mark. I'm guessing there's a head clash. There was some holding of the back of head and front of head of the opponents in that case. But, man, absolutely roosted out of the middle. That was well behind the center bounce where that ball was kicked. Torp into the forward line, mark, goal.
All back in the middle of the ground. Whoops, as we have the ball coming once again, Baltimore. And again, we apologize. Baltimore did not submit names or numbers. So what that also means is they won't get any, if any of their players do good, that means they won't be eligible for any votes.
Well, yeah, apologies to all the moms, dads, grandmas out there trying to watch their family members in a game of football. We'd love to give them a shout-out for solid tackles like that, or big pickups or kicks like that, or marks like that. But all we have is numbers. So
we don't even have that. Yeah, we just have the numbers in front of us.
Number 2 there.
As this one drops in front, and it's marked. So what a good mark against 2 Denver players. They haven't scored in a while here in this first half, and he'll have a chance to kick this one in against the Breeze.
Yeah, 65 here. Stood tough in that mark. That ball squeezed through. The kick let him down there, and it's kind of an upright twister.
As it comes in front, he'll have a chance if he can get to it, but he had 2 players on it. Just somehow or another managed to get it away, and the umpire says there was no prior opportunity. He crosses his arms like the Monsignor of the First Church of Australian football, and we'll have a ball up.
These sorts of restarts probably have been favoring Baltimore a little bit more, although Denver's structures have been good and got him out of these situations a lot.
Sending this one in front, gets knocked down, sent that one back, and then able to pitchfork handball that one up on the far side now. Over comes Denver. Comes Baltimore and Denver, and then slotted forward there by Henry. We mentioned 4 Philadelphians, 1 Bostonian, 1 Kansas City, and 1 Seattleite as part of this Denver side. And it's good because it actually does help them make up a full side. We are playing the traditional 18-a-side here. Now, the interesting thing, Sars, is that there might be, especially the heat, injuries, other things, it might get to the point where some of these matches, teams will have less than 20 players. You must have 2 on the bench at all times.
Yeah, and we're realistic about that. Sometimes we make some adjustments, and teams will agree to play on 16s instead of 18s to make it equitable. Player safety, it's still early in the season. Fitness is coming back, and we do want to prevent injuries and such. So we try to be intelligent about those things.
Nice mark over the top by Ben Collins. And yeah, we saw this. We saw Stork McClure from Columbus a few years ago. There's Duffield who sends this one another vertical helicopter as this one just goes through for a behind, and another point for the Doggies as they go on to 5-5-35. They now lead by 27 points. Baltimore 1-2-8. And we saw with Stork McClure at the regionals in 2017, a few years ago, him go down with an ACL injury. I mean, and the sad part was, he came over and he tried to play. I remember at that first practice in Windy Hill, and he lasted maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah,
but it's good to see him come back.
Yeah, it was an International Cup year. I'd retired at that point and was on the coaching staff, and he gave it his best crack to be up for that tournament. But yeah, the injury is bad luck to him in that circumstance.
It's the 5:15 to North Cuyahoga goes behind us, and the ball goes out of bounds. We'll have a boundary throw in once again as we're past the halfway park here in this second half. Again, 2 20-minute halves. Brian Barish, Dan Sarbacker, our producer Jerry Wong, and on camera Craig Campbell. And our thanks to everybody who has put this together on the day. Glad to be joining you here live on USAFL.com, or perhaps on the replay if you're watching us in the distant future, the year 2000. It is the distant future. There is only one dance, the robot boogie. As the ball goes out, that's for all you Flight of the Conchords fans out there. As the ball comes back in the play, there's a turn and a shot for a goal. It's across the face, though. Gets knocked down 3-on-3, but it's the orange jumpers that went out. And, he turned back into the play. He didn't really see a whole lot in front of him, so he turned across, and that, I think, that unfortunately is a mistake, and it's a free kick from dead in front to the man in Channing Hurley.
Yeah, so as we see that train roll past in the distance, in the foreground here, Denver just keeps rolling on. That train that is their quality football program, although that maybe not the best example of it right there, but they're really pinning Baltimore back at this point and putting pressure on.
They really are, as that takes them on to, I think that went through for a behind. Did it? No, that is not a behind. That went out of bounds on the full. A lot of people, a lot of flags, a lot of things happening over there, and that's what happens as this one is played out on the far side. And once again, this one stays in play and will have a free kick.
Big, long kick out of the goal square there is really helpful for Baltimore. They'd be happy to tie it up on the boundary, make another contest of it, and try to punch it forward again.
Men's Division I. These two teams will play Austin and Minnesota later. And again, the best record wins. If we have a tie, it goes down to percentage, which is essentially point differential. So we'll see what happens. Austin, of course, and Austin brought a full side. They're over on that other field against the Freeze. They lost last year. Denver won on a Lockheed Fleet kick after the siren on a hot, muggy, steamy, just soupy day in Olathe, Kansas. Here's an opportunity for a goal. The umpire bends his back and says that's a good, I was going to say a good soccer goal or a good sausage roll, as the case may be. And Denver just padding the percentage here. And what was a close game at one point is now a bit of a blowout. They go to 6-5-41. Baltimore 1-2-8.
Yeah, these short-sided tournament format games. You'd say, okay, 20 minutes. We had a bad quarter. Let's get it back. Well, a bad second quarter here means the game's over.
Yeah, that's the thing is that, and there's interesting because there's teams who I think thrive on that particular format. Philadelphia is I think a great example. They're a team that they'll go toe to toe, especially in a place where you've got New York and DC, all these D1 sides that they played for many years. When they play them in that format, in that 4-division format, I think there's time to recover from mistakes. I mean, I think, they're much more suited for that 2 format because the other side of that, if you make a mistake and you're able to capitalize it, it's magnified. That one, he's going to dribble that home. Oh, don't tell me. Oh, stripe me pink and call me an Easter egg. What a fantastic. I thought that was Eddie Betts for a second, but it was only Ben Collins. And that is just the cherry on top of the delicious sundae that is this game. And that's the only time I'll say delicious today because I'm not Bruce McAvaney. And that is their 7th goal of the game. as they move on the Watch AFL scoreboard to 7-5-47. The lead 39 points over Baltimore, 1-2-8.
Geez, everything Benny did there was right. His pursuit of that play, running forward with the flight after the ball was collected, being in a position to receive that handball, and then continuing his path, and then kicking across his body to dribble that through.
That so far is the goal of the day. We haven't seen any of the other two fields yet. Baltimore hasn't given up. Look, they've not given up yet. They are still trying to parry away these attacks, but Denver, I think, just maybe a class ahead here. So as this one is sent on, and now they were, I think we've talked about them missing some players. They were installed as the 3 seed. They're going to play Austin next. I mean, that might be the game that determines who ends up winning this thing. But, Baltimore, by the same token, as we said, they haven't laid down. They've, especially in that first half, but I think you're seeing the fitness a little bit better as that one sails across and through for another behind. So very quickly before we talk the SARS, 7-6-48 to 1-2-8. It's a 40-point lead. And here is former USA Revolution player / St. Louis guy, Dan Sarbacher.
Yes. So as this game winds down, I think you start looking forward into the rest of the tournament. What does Baltimore need to do to make some adjustments? They certainly had the pressure. They certainly had the tackling. But in the end, Denver, having a step on them here and there. Maybe their structures were a little better, putting Baltimore on their heels. So some corrections there to get them on the forefoot, and more, better, and earlier use of the football for Baltimore is going to make a difference in their upcoming game.
Now 4 minutes to go until Denver can wrap this one up as this one comes across and again scooters through for another behind. So we're up to 7-7-49 to 1-2-8 Watch AFL scoreboard. And our thanks, as we mentioned, Watch AFL to all of our sponsors. Tasmania, of course, the big one. This is their third year joining us. You've got, we mentioned them. We've mentioned Aussie Sports USA, who have made some of these snazzy shirts that you see around, and a couple of other sponsors as well. Cyber Sense IQ as well, and some of these new Odin Mortgage. So yeah, it's great to see a lot of people get behind this sport in this league.
Takes a village, doesn't it, Brian? And we're indebted to our sponsors. They're invaluable as a part of this process. So thank you to all of them.
He kept that in somehow, and it was right. It was a good call. What we've seen is Munn sends this one back. We've seen an itchy trigger finger on the boundary umpire, but it was a great job to not blow that dead, because that earned a lot of hustle. As the ball gets down, they try to mine the ball here. Here again is Benny Collins. He's in that pocket again. Goes across looking for Gray, but the mustard came off the hot dog. Going to get picked up, and a little stab shot for a goal, and it is through the sticks. And how about another one? And that one, give that to Dakota Hunt. Well, he was on the hunt for another sausage roll, and he ended up chomping that one. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm a little delirious, but it's 9. But they go on now to 8-60. Sorry, let's see. We're moving over here. It's 8-7-55 to 1-2-8. The doggies are home.
Yeah, I think that sequence we just saw there in the pocket was a microcosm of what we've seen today. Good pressure at times by Baltimore. They're able to stop some things, but suddenly that pressure's applied, tackle applied, ball scoots loose, and it's one Docker on 3 Bulldogs, because the Bulldogs are getting the number. They end up getting first use of that football, and then they execute in the end.
Ball comes back in the middle once again as this one comes down out to the near side. Little shovel pass. Tried to kick that one free. Now it comes in, little shovel pass through, and kicks that one on, and going to be picked one up. Here's the 28, giving a little handball back. Kicks this one in. Big, strong kick down the middle. Almost a flying mark taken, but it bounced free. Now there's 3 players. There's a team meeting, a little introduction to Bear Hugs 101 or something like that, and we'll have a ball up directly across from us with a little less than 90 seconds to go, I would say.
Yeah, so looking forward to the next match for Denver. Obviously a class act here. They got to be hoping they might run home with this tournament again. But what's staring them in the face? That's the Austin Crows. Yep.
But, I mean, they're the only team to beat Austin since the pandemic. They've done it 3 times each of the last 3 years during the regular season. As here comes a chance now for Baltimore, and this one is sent in towards the sticks. It's through for behind. That's their first point in some time, and they go on the Watch AFL scoreboard now to 9 points. That's 1-3-9, trailing 8-7-55.
Big kick out of back here, which is exactly what you'd want to see. Bypass some of those lines and the pressure that Baltimore's been able to apply. Get it into an open space where their effective tackling and pressure can't be applied without them transitioning.
Ball's up on the far side once again. We're awaiting the hooter, and so I guess are both teams, because Baltimore can kind of move on to their next game against Minnesota, and there it is, full time here in the opening game of Men's Division I, and it was a close game for the first 20 minutes, but in the end, Denver much the best, and at the end, it's the final score: the Denver Bulldogs 8 goals, 7 behinds, 55 points. The Baltimore Dockers 1-3-9. And SARS, a good game, good strong game for the 20 minutes. But listen, Denver, not only we talked about how they're the defending super regional champions, and we talked about the 8 national championships. You have to remember, they've also been in the national D1 final 3 out of the last 4 years. This is still the second best team in the country until somebody comes along and says otherwise.
Yeah, I'm sitting here today with what I just saw saying, nothing's changed my mind that isn't the case still. So, yeah, really good effort from them. They turned it on in the second half. Maybe a little bit of help from the wind. It's not strong, just a light breeze today. But in reality, their structures around the ball were better. They absorbed the pressure that Baltimore applied and were able to work their way out of that up the field and create the scoring chances.
Well, we'll see Baltimore again at 2 p.m. Eastern in a couple of hours when they take on the Minnesota Freeze. Our next game here on Field 2 here at Darry Fields in Dublin, Ohio, is we go back to Men's Division III as the Nashville Kangaroos, who were winners over St. Louis earlier today, taking on the Oklahoma Buffaloes. Thanks so much to Dan and to our production crew for bringing you this one. We'll be back for this one, but we'll return on the 2024 USAFL Super Regionals here on USAFL.com.
This presentation of the USAFL is brought to you by Tasmanian. Quietly pursue the extraordinary. Coopers. Australian made and owned. Coopers Beer. Aussie Sports USA, the official apparel provider of the USAFL. Odin Mortgage and Tax, Australian mortgages and taxation for expats and overseas residents. CyberSolve IQ, the inaugural cybersecurity partner of the USAFL. Two Hands Restaurant, fueling your lifestyle. Watch AFL, stream every match overseas. Brown Brothers, family winemakers since 1889. HBC Event Services, Premier Sports Medicine, and the members of the USAFL.